I'm Jason Craigo, and today I'd like to show you how to build your own computer. You'll only need a pair of pliers, a Phillips screwdriver, and a hard clean surface to work on. The computer parts that you'll need include a motherboard, a computer processor or CPU that must be compatible with the motherboard, a CPU cooling fan, some thermal paste. You'll need a power supply that has appropriate pin connectors for the motherboard, for your other devices, and for video. You'll need case fans for cooling, a standalone video card, RAM or random access memory. Check with your motherboard manufacturer to be sure which RAM is supported, a hard drive, and an optical drive. Make sure that your motherboard supports the interfaces for both of these devices. And a case, usually an ATX type case. This is an old case that I have removed everything from. Each motherboard comes with a rear panel faceplate. Install this first by pushing it into place. Gently set the motherboard in the case to find out where the support post holes line up. Remove the motherboard and screw in the support posts by hand in the appropriate holes. Once all posts are in, give each a little turn with the pliers. You will need to install the CPU in the motherboard before you put the motherboard in the case. The CPU has alignment tabs to make sure that it is oriented correctly. Place the CPU in position so it is flat and lock it in place. Each CPU fan is a little different, but they all must attach firmly to the motherboard. This fan uses an underboard brace to attach. I just position it, then set the board on top of it. Just a little bit of thermal paste is needed for good heat transfer between the CPU and the cooling fan. Make sure to keep the paste away from the edge. Place the CPU fan on top of the CPU and fasten the fan down. This one needs to be screwed in, while other types simply snap lock into place. Attach the CPU fan's power cable to the pins labeled CPU fan on the motherboard. Now your motherboard is ready for the case. Align the support posts with the holes and slide the back panel portion into place. Then, screw down the motherboard into all the support posts. The power supply simply slides into place into the open port at the back of the case. 4 screws hold this in place. The supplemental power supply, which is 4 to 6 pins, and the primary power supply, which is 20 to 24 pins, simply snap into place. Each has its own location on the motherboard. A case fan screwed into the back of the case will help with heat removal. Have it push air out the back. Connect the power connector to the case fan pins on the motherboard. An optional fan on the front can draw air in. Slide the optical drive into one of the 5 1/4 inch bays and screw the drive into place. Note which bay you use so that you'll make sure to clear the front panel cover plate. Your hard drive will go into a small 3 1/2 inch bay. Slide it in so that the connectors face the motherboard. Screw the hard drive in place. A standalone video card can greatly improve video performance. Push the video card straight down into the PCI Express slot, then screw the plate of the video card into the case. This optical drive is an older style IDE type, so I need an IDE cable from the motherboard to the drive. Once it's connected, make sure to tuck all of the cables out of the way. The front panel has wires for easy access USB ports and the power switch. Feed those cables in and attach the front panel. Make sure to align the optical drive with the front panel plate and then tighten the screws. You need to connect the power switch and reset switch cables into the motherboard. A diagram for the correct configuration should come with the motherboard. You'll also need to connect the USB panel cables to the pins labeled USB 1. Next, run the power for the optical drive and the hard drive. This optical drive needs the older style 4-pin connector, but the hard drive requires a serial ATA style power connector. The hard drive communicates through a SATA cable. Attach one end to the hard drive and the other end to the SATA 1 port on the motherboard. RAM comes in different sizes, connectors, and speeds, but when you have the right RAM, it can only slide down into the DIMM slots one way. Make sure the latch clicks closed. Now it's time to boot the computer and install the software. The total cost for a computer that you build yourself can range anywhere from $300 at the low end to well over $1,000 at the upper end, so make sure that you plan your budget accordingly. You're going to need an operating system for your computer as well, so make sure that you include that in your budget, unless you decide to go with a free operating system such as Linux. Whatever you decide, just remember, never be afraid to try.